All right, boys and girls, we are here to do the power rankings as well as next week's preview. Been slacking on those a bit. Sorry, it's been busy, but no excuse. So let's start with our preview and then we'll go into the power rankings since that's what I know you're all here for anyway. And let's put it up on your screen. So here's what we got next week. We've got the Super Bowl between Nate and I, the battle of, I would argue, the 11th and 12th teams in the league. Spoiler alert to maybe the power rankings. But a big game for both of us just because it's quite literally the one we can win, arguably, for the year. So will be fun to watch and see what happens there as we get into that. As we get into that one, we've got an old school Division of Death rematch between Flynn and the Inaugurals there. Should be close. I feel like this is a big one for both of them. They've kind of struggled out of the gate, Flynn a bit more so, and so both these teams being at 2 and 4 will kind of need some oomph to get him over the hill. It's just unfortunate they're running into buzzsaws with each other here. We'll see how Flynn adapts with the James Conner injury after his season ender last week. Liquidators and the Deli, Chase versus Allen, two good friends going at it. Both 4 and 2, both with good starts to their season. But the bar here pretty skewed towards Chase. We'll see if that holds up or if the Deli makes any adjustments. Ticket to Riding Kung Fu Pandas. This is a quieter classic rivalry between two top teams from their old divisions as they go head to head here in new divisions. Panda's off to a great start. Ticket to Ride with a bit of a struggle, but we'll see how their match goes in the next one. And we've got Seawards versus Brownout, which shouldn't be too much talking about. Rick's come off with a good start, but Brownout has again come out of the gate swinging for the fences. And so the bar here is very, very, very skewed towards Brownout, but would not be surprised to see the Seawards pick up a win against Median. And lastly, Luck Cardinals against Rudy was offsides. This should be a good week for Morgan, playing more against the Median than maybe against Vic. So what we've got is our power rankings after our divisional games. So all the divisional games are done. We've seen Code's got his power rankings out. Here are mine, and then we've got what we had originally, so we can kind of see how it has been skewed versus where it is today. So let's put this back on the screen just to kind of help give me some support. But for me, the number one team has got to be Brownout. They've got the most points for. They're the only team that's undefeated. They're in the easiest division by an absolute long shot. And so Brownout's got to take the number one spot for me. A little controversial maybe here on this one just because the points for aren't as high. But I've got the Pandas actually in the number 2 spot. They're 5 and 1. They're in a weaker division. We've seen Flynn struggle a bit, like I said already, and Allen be okay. I know they lost their game to Allen, but they're still 5 and 1. And I think they're going to have a bit easier of a route long term than maybe some of these other teams that we're about to hammer through. And so I've got the Unicorn sitting here at number 2. Let's spend some time in the Division of Death, the Real Men of Genius division. I think for the third team here, there's only really one right answer, and that's the Inaugurals. And the reason is because they're defending, but also look at the points for discrepancy versus the rest of the league. They have the most points against them right now. And I think had that number been 20 or 30 points lower, or even closer to where it is for Morgan and for Chase, they wouldn't be 3 and 3. They'd be 5 and 1, maybe 4 and 2. And so for me, I think it's got to be the Inaugurals at number 3. I think then you go to the Luck Cardinals at number 4. It's very close between them and Chase, but they've got the win advantage over Chase. So they're 5 and 1 right now compared to Chase's 4 and 2. So the Luck Cardinals coming in at 4. They've also got the depth to withstand some of these injuries that have been happening. And Chase, the Liquidators, at 5. Maybe not so much. We already saw them forced to make a move for Rogers. If Rogers doesn't produce, does that force them to make another move? Do they have to do something else somewhere else? And so I have the Cardinals at 4. I have Chase and the Liquidators at 5. Really wanted to stay here in this division with Rick at 6, but I found it very hard to do so. I'm going to go all the way down here to Cam's second team and put them in 6th place with Justin's Deli. The points for are close, but I think 4 and 2 versus 3 and 3. And in that division, that Allen's got a bit more of an inside track than Morgan does into getting what is considered the 6th spot here. Had some debates in my head for who to go with at 7. I'm going to go Rick at 7. 460 points for. It's awfully close to the most in this division. A lot of points against. This could have easily gone a different way for Rick, I think. And so they're 3 and 3 right now, hanging out at the bottom of the division, but it's a tough division to get to the bottom of. It's only going to get easier from here from Rick. I'll be curious to see if he tries to sell maybe a little bit to secure the playoff or the toilet bowl if he's going to go for that for the third or fourth time in a row because he sucks and likes losing, even though he gets away with it, and you guys just make fun of me all the time. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm just jealous, I guess. Number 8, I'm going to go Flynn. I think it gets better from here. They've got more points for than Ticket to Ride. They've got, I think, a better team than Ticket to Ride. It really is concerning with the James Conner injury, but I think that Flynn could pick it up and go ahead and make a push. I have a bit more confidence in what we've seen from them than I do Ticket to Ride, which might be controversial, but that's kind of how I'm feeling. That does put Ticket to Ride here in 9th. I'm curious to see if Code continues to push now that we've seen signs of life from Jalen Hurts in terms of fantasy production. A.J. Brown is back on the radar as well. So Code should be okay, but I feel like you've got to be really scared after how those first couple games went, coming in at 3-3, and so that's why I've got them at 9. At 10, I think out of the bottom 3 teams, there's a clear number 10, and that's Vic. Comes in at 10. He's got more points for than the Implications and the Hippos by a pretty good amount. That puts the Implications in 11th and the Hippos in 12th. Really, those two are interchangeable. I think there's a clear tier break with Vic at 10, but who knows? But that's my power rankings. Got codes for you as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this. A little bit of content. We'll be more consistent about the previews and the recaps here in the future. And maybe another check-in about halfway through the season.